Today we are going to be ranking the top 50 prospects in this year's NFL draft. We are only 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, so it is about time to get my final rankings out of the way. Before we get into this, I'm going to let you guys know that these are my personal rankings, so if you disagree with them, leave a comment down below and tell me what you would change. And without further ado, let's get right into the rankings. Coming in at number 50, we have Notre Dame running back Jadarian Price. Jadarian Price has basically been overshadowed by Jeremiah Love for his entire career, but that shouldn't keep you guys from acknowledging that he is an insanely good running back prospect. Price was able to turn out solid production on a limited amount of touches and has the strength and explosiveness to succeed in the NFL. At number 49, I have Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers. When it comes to receiving ability, Eli Stowers might very well be the number one tight end in this entire draft class. He also had one of the best combine performances that we've ever seen from a tight end. The only problem with Stowers is that his run blocking is non-existent, which is why he's ranked at 49 instead of being a little bit higher on this list. Coming in at number 48, and this one might be the most controversial one on this entire list, I have Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. I feel like there's a narrative that quarterbacks should always be ranked really high on the draft boards just because they're going to be drafted super high, but that's just because they play quarterback and is a premium position. We have to remember that I'm just ranking the prospects from worst to best based on talent alone. But I'll say it before and I'll say it again. If you were to ask me who the best quarterback in this draft class was after the first 9 weeks of the college football season, I would have definitely said Ty Simpson. But the reason that he's ranked so low now is because in the last half of the season, he completely fell off a cliff. I do still think he'll probably go in the late first to early second round, maybe even the early first to mid first, but for right now, I think 48 is a fair ranking for him. Next up at number 47, I have Texas A&M guard Chase Bisontis. Bisontis is an elite run blocking guard who has great athletic ability for his size and can play multiple positions along the offensive line. He still has below average lateral movement and his mirror skills do need some refining, but he should be a solid second round pick for whatever NFL team decides to take a chance on him and a day one starter. Next up at number 46, I have Louisville wide receiver Chris Bell. Chris Bell is an absolute behemoth, weighing in at 222 pounds at a height of 6'2". He also has legit long speed that really shows up when he gets downfield. What's holding him back this far is his ACL tear that caused him to miss the majority of the 2025 season. Going off talent alone, Chris Bell might actually be a top tier receiver in this class, but until he can prove that he can return to full form after his ACL injury, he'll stay near the bottom of the top 50. Coming in at number 45, I have Oregon guard Emmanuel Pregnon. Pregnon has a solid build, long arms, huge hands, and a great amount of lean muscle mass. His anchor is damn near immovable and is up there with one of the top in this entire draft class. Like most of the guards in this class, however, he lacks the ideal quickness to get into his zones, and his hips tight in when he's forced to redirect. But overall, he should definitely be a day one starter and an early to mid second round pick. Coming in at number 44, I have another offensive lineman, and that is Iowa tackle Jennings Dunker. If this ranking was based off who had the best haircuts, Jennings Dunker would be unanimously number one. But again, we're ranking their football skill, so number 44 is a solid spot for him. Dunker has an insane build at 6'5", at 320 pounds, and is a 4-year starter with 38 career starts at Iowa. There is some concern with his quickness and whether he can play tackle at the next level, with many teams projecting him to play guard, but based off what I've seen, I think here at 44 is a solid ranking for him. Next up at number 43, I have Tennessee wide receiver Chris Brazzell. Brazzell is definitely a boom or bust prospect in this draft, but I'm definitely leaning more towards the boom side of his projection here. He is 6'5" at 200 pounds. This guy is an absolute beast, and despite that height, he is still insanely fast. His large frame creates an extremely large catch radius, so smaller corners are just going to have no luck contesting against this guy. His separation and his quickness are still kind of a concern, but overall he is definitely a solid prospect. Next up at number 42, I have Texas Tech defensive tackle Lee Hunter. This year's defensive tackle class is extremely interesting because all of them are extremely close in skill, and you're kind of just ranking which ones you like better. But for me, I'd say I like Hunter the least out of the big, major, potential first-round defensive tackles. Hunter is a consistently strong run defender who can generate real pocket pushes as a bull rusher. However, his effort visibly drops sometimes on plays that are away from him, and he lacks lateral quickness and long speed, which again, aren't the worst for a defensive lineman, but are still things to take note of. At 41, I have another defensive tackle, and that is Christian Miller from Georgia. Run defense is Miller's bread and butter. He plays with excellent leverage and rarely gets stood up at the point of attack. His pass rush production is a little bit weak, and his missed tackle rate skyrocketed in 2025, which is why I have him ranked a little bit lower than some other consensus big boards. But overall, he's an amazing athlete for his size, and I would not be surprised to see him even go in the first round. Next up, we're staying on the defensive side of the ball and going with Tennessee cornerback Colton Hood. Hood is an extremely talented athlete, but is a little bit inconsistent on the field. He has fluid hips and quick feet and great ball skills, but his tackling mechanics can break down too often, and occasionally he gets too physical in routes, which leads to penalties. He only has 1 year as a starter, but there's no denying that that 1 year was very, very strong, and he still has the potential to go in the first round. I think I'm lower on Hood than most people, so don't be surprised if he ends up going early seconds to late first round or even mid first round. Next up at number 39, I have Texas A&M edge rusher Cassius Howell. A part of me kind of wanted to rank Howell a little bit lower just because his arms are historically short. Howell's arms were measured at 30 1/4 inches, which is among the shortest for an edge defender in the modern combine era. Despite that, Howell still was able to dominate at the college level, which is why I have him ranked at 39. He had 11.5 sacks last year, proving that his arms really weren't an issue for him at the collegiate level, but they definitely might become a problem at the NFL level when he's going against grown men and experienced offensive tackles. But arms aside, his first step is violent and elite, and he has great natural flexibility and bent. I would definitely not be surprised to see Howell go in the first round, but because of his measurables, I could definitely see him falling into the second. Coming in at number 38, I have South Carolina quarterback Brendan Cisse. Cisse is a very solid cornerback with a bulky frame and long arms. He's a natural athlete with elite lateral explosiveness and down speed. He disrupts route timing with elite physicality and is a quick processor against the run game. Now, his zone coverage instincts are raw and underdeveloped, and he has a tendency to overreact to fakes and double moves. He can also get very grabby when plays go down the field, and his extensive injury history is a major red flag. Now, this draft class is definitely very backloaded, and any prospect that I talk about from here on out definitely has potential to go in the first round, so Brendan Cisse could very well be anywhere from that 25 to 40 range, honestly. Next up at number 37, I have Clemson tackle Blake Miller. Blake Miller has the skill set and the size to eventually be a Pro Bowl NFL offensive tackle. He has a long, explosive first kick and an excellent awareness and communication skills. He's a 4-year starter with 54 starts across his collegiate career, who primarily plays right tackle but can also play left if need be. The only downsides with Miller is that he stands too tall and upright occasionally, his run blocking is just a little bit average, and his hand placement drifts outside of his frame too often, which in the NFL will lead to holding calls. I'm a little bit lower on Miller than other people, and I definitely think that other offensive linemen that I'll talk about later are better than him, but I don't think it will be a bad pick to take him in the first round, which is probably where he ends up going. Coming in at number 36, I have another offensive tackle, and that is Max Ahinachor from Arizona State. Ahinachor is an absolute freak athlete, measuring in at 6'5", 325 pounds, and running the fastest 40 out of any offensive lineman at 4.91. He has absurd lateral quickness and agility skills, which can be attributed to his basketball and his soccer background. His fluid hips allow him to mirror speedy rushers off the edge, and he has real power at the point of contact. He is definitely a top 5 pass protector in this class, but the big downside with him is that he only started playing football in 2021. This is very apparent in his play recognition and his run blocking, which are well behind his pass blocking ability. But if you give him a couple years to rest behind some proven offensive tackles, then he definitely has the athletic ability to become a very, very solid offensive lineman in the NFL. Coming in at number 35, I have Florida defensive tackle Caleb Banks. And this guy is just an absolute monster. Banks is basically a brick wall on the defensive line, measuring in at 6'6", 327 pounds. His first step quickness seems illegal for someone of his size, and he can line up all across the defensive line. His heavy hands jolt and disrupt offensive linemen, and his natural power allows him to collapse the pocket with his bull rushes. His motor also runs hotter than you'd expect from a player his size, showing real effort on plays that go away from him. The concerns with Banks are that he's kind of a one-trick pony, and his pass rush toolbox needs significant refinement. His tackling technique could also use a lot of work, and his pad level is a little bit of a concern as he stays too upright when he gets fatigued. His production is also inconsistent for someone with his ability and size, but I'm sure teams would be willing to take the gamble on Banks. Coming in at number 34, I have Texas linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. This is definitely a player that I'm higher on than most people are, but I definitely think Anthony Hill will surprise a lot of people once he makes it to the second level. This year's off-ball linebacker class is loaded with extremely talented athletes, and Anthony Hill Jr. is no exception. He has elite speed and sideline-to-sideline movement and can run downhill with violence and bad intentions. He reads plays lightning quick, he rarely baits for fake moves, and his ball production is off the charts. He also shows legitimate pass rush production for an off-ball linebacker, posting up 17 sacks in his 3 years at Texas. He can be overly aggressive sometimes and gets caught flat-footed after biting too hard on play-action plays, and his man coverage against running backs is a work in progress, but those shouldn't distract teams from the true athlete that this guy is, and in my eyes, he should definitely be near a first-round pick, early second at the latest. Next up at number 33, I have San Diego State cornerback Chris Johnson. Johnson processes information at the line of scrimmage like a veteran NFL cornerback and is elite in zone coverage schemes. His fluid hips allow for excellent mirroring, and he's also an elite ball hawk who attacks the ball at the catch point. He had an amazing performance at the combine and is a dependable tackler who can wrap up effectively. He is a little bit on the lighter side, which results in him getting bullied by bigger receivers at the line of scrimmage, and he can get his feet stuck on curl and comeback routes. The Mountain West competition is also a bit of a red flag, as he really didn't go against truly elite wide receivers in college, but at the end of the day, the dude can cover, and I think NFL teams are going to see that, and Johnson should definitely be a player who goes late first to early second round. Next up at 32, I have Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. Boston is built like a true wide receiver one at 6'4", 212 pounds. He's also a red zone machine, putting up 20 touchdowns combined over his last 2 seasons at Washington. His hands are exceptional, and his ability to track and go over balls is elite. And despite his size, he's actually pretty solid after the catch, and is also a willing and strong run blocker. However, his speed is nothing to write home about, and his elusiveness in the open field is nothing special. His release needs a little bit of work as well, and he kind of struggled when he played the elite SEC teams with very solid cornerbacks, so that does raise a little bit of a red flag for NFL teams, but at the end of the day, this is definitely a first-round talent at the wide receiver position. Next up at number 31, I have Texas A&M wide receiver Casey Concepcion. Now, I think that Boston and Concepcion are very close in skill and talent level, but I feel like Casey Concepcion kind of cleans up the inconsistencies that Denzel Boston has in his game. Concepcion has an elite release and gains exceptional speed within the first 15 yards of his routes. He makes explosive cuts that make tight coverage a nightmare for anyone covering him. Despite his small frame, he still caught 10 of 15 contested catch opportunities, showing his exceptional hands and body control. He's also a proven special teams player who can take a punt to the house at any given play. Now, of course, at 5'11", 190 pounds, he is undersized, and his drops are kind of an issue. Due to his small size, he also is pretty inconsistent in the run game, but that shouldn't distract teams from seeing that this guy can play football, you know? He still is an elite receiver, one of the best in this class, and I definitely see him going anywhere from the mid to the late first round. Coming in at number 30, I have Clemson defensive tackle Peter Woods. At the beginning of the season, many people had Woods as a top 5 draft pick and the best defensive lineman in this class, but his lack of production kind of dropped him to mid to late first round. Woods displays elite athleticism for someone who plays defensive tackle, and his first step explosiveness is truly mind-boggling for a man his size. His flexibility and body control deny the laws of physics, and his sideline-to-sideline range is truly elite. His scheme versatility also allows him to be lined up anywhere across the defensive line, and his combine and testing numbers marked off the charts. Now, for some reason, Woods' athletic ability didn't translate to any pass rush production, having only 5 sacks in his 3-year career at Clemson. His pass rush arsenal also lacks versatility beyond his elite swipe move, so teams will definitely be banking on Woods' pure athleticism going into the draft. At number 29, I have Ohio State defensive lineman Caden McDonald. Now, earlier I spoke about how close the defensive tackles were and how you can rank them basically just on who you prefer, but I think Caden McDonald is the best defensive tackle in this class. McDonald has elite play strength that simply cannot be taught and consistently ragdolls people at the point of attack. His anchor is just absolutely ridiculous and has tremendous pop in his hand strikes. Now, his measurements were a little bit disappointing and his pass rush tools need some refining, but his raw power and freakish strength kind of overshadow that. He's definitely more of a run defender than a pass rusher, but that's not a bad thing, and there's definitely some teams near the end of the first round who could use some help with their run defense. I definitely could see McDonald falling into the second round, but overall, I feel like he's a first round talent. Next up, at number 28, I have Utah offensive tackle Caleb Lomu. Standing at 6'6", 304 pounds, Lomu already has a solid frame, but there's still room for more muscle to be added. He gets off the line at an elite rate and has active hands with good quickness. He processes defenses without panic and can control rushers with his strong grip. His footwork can be sloppy at times, and I would say that adding some upper body strength and muscle would be good for him, but his size and athletic ability proves that he is more than ready to compete in the NFL. I would definitely consider left tackle to be a premium position in the NFL, so do not be surprised to see Lomu go way earlier than a lot of these mocks have him going. Somewhere between the 17 to 32 range could definitely be in play for Lomu. At number 27, I have Missouri edge rusher Zion Young. Young is a guy whose motor never stops running as he consistently chases plays to the opposite side of the field. He has legitimate bend around the corner, even against the best SEC tackles, and he stays disciplined and can diagnose screens at a superb level. He's also an elite run defender and has a solid build and size at 6'6", 262 pounds. Now, he does lack the explosiveness of some of the top edge prospects in this draft, and his counter repertoire needs some serious work. He also has some major character and off-the-field issues, which definitely could limit his draft stock, similar to what we saw Mike Green go through, where I think he fell all the way to the mid-second round, being a projected first-rounder. But overall, Zion Young has the talent to go in the first round. Next up, at number 26, I have Auburn defensive end Keldrick Folk. Now, Folk is definitely not a pure pass rusher, but his size could definitely persuade NFL teams to take him early on in the draft. He is 6'6", 276 pounds, and is probably the best run defender in the entire class. He's been praised for his leadership and character skills at Auburn, and has lots of alignment versatility. However, his pass rush production is basically non-existent, drawing a lot of comparisons to Shamar Stewart from last year. But he did have 7 sacks in 2024, which could boost his draft stock a lot, and based off his size alone, an NFL team will definitely be willing to take a chance on him in the first round. Next up at number 25, I have Clemson edge rusher TJ Parker. Along with his teammate Peter Woods, Parker was another guy who at the beginning of the season was projected to go near the top 5 of the draft, but due to a poor 2025 season, fell to closer to the end of the first round. Now, Parker still has the ability to be an elite NFL pass rusher, and his ball stripping ability is off the charts. His long arms absolutely devastated and pushed back tackles in the college level, and he utilizes his anchor and upper body strength to set strong edges and dominate the run game. He has solid play recognition and legitimate versatility when you drop him into zone coverage. However, he has below average pursuit speed and get off, and straight up disappears on plays that go to the opposite side of the field. There's a lot of players in this class who teams will be looking to bank off their pure athletic ability rather than their production, and Parker is definitely one of them. However, his extremely strong 2024 season with 11 sacks and 19.5 tackles for loss will definitely boost his draft stock and push him to the mid to late first round. Next up at number 24, I have another edge rusher, and that is Miami's Akeem Mesidor. Now, Mesidor has reached complete UNC status as he's going to be 25 years old when he starts the 2026 season, but him, along with his teammate, who we'll talk about later, absolutely dominated the college football season this year. Mesidor has an extensive repertoire of pass rush moves and has a great get off and snap anticipation. He also posted 12.5 sacks last season, ranking second only behind David Bailey. He absolutely dominated the college football playoffs, and I think teams may see his age as an advantage over a disadvantage. Now, I could be completely wrong about Mesidor, and he could end up going at like pick 50 or something, but I think that's unlikely, and I say that the mid to late first round is a better spot for him. Although he's old and undersized, his pass rush production cannot be denied. It was among some of the best in this entire class, and I think whatever team takes him will be getting a steal. Coming in at number 23, I have Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. Now, I know I said earlier that Ty Simpson was probably the most controversial ranking on this list, but it is definitely Jacob Rodriguez. Now, I truly don't know what I'm missing here. Every other ranking that I see has him ranked between the 40s and 50s and as a projected second round pick, but the way I see it is that Rodriguez is far and away the second best off-ball linebacker in this class. We're talking about a guy who got Heisman votes last season, for God's sake. Rodriguez is also an elite run defender, and his ball production is off the charts with 13 forced fumbles and 6 interceptions in his college career. He can read an offense like no other, with his background as a quarterback showing up play to play. He's a top-tier athlete and also an amazing leader who makes everyone on that Texas Tech defense better around him. Now, the downside with Rodriguez is that he is very undersized for the position and gets kind of washed out in the second level. He is 6'1", 231 pounds, which is the only justifiable reason I see for him to fall out of the first round. His missed tackle numbers are also a little bit higher than you'd like, and busting coverage do show up a little bit often in his tape, but other than that, I see this guy as a true first round talent who, in my opinion, will be the steal of the draft. At number 22, I have Indiana wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. At the end of the college football season, Cooper was projected to go anywhere from the second to even the third round, but after his amazing performance in the playoffs and at the combine, people started to realize how good of a player Cooper really is. Cooper was a red zone machine in his last 2 seasons at Indiana, catching 20 touchdowns. He is also elite at forcing missed tackles and has insane run after the catch ability. He also has strong lineup versatility and is able to play both out wide and in the slot. However, his route tree is still extremely underdeveloped, and his attitude and effort issues are a major red flag. He also only had about 8 games of truly elite play, but those games were extremely solid and good enough for me to see him as the 22nd best prospect in this class. I would actually not be surprised if Cooper was the 3rd receiver off the board. I'll get to the reasons to that a little bit later when we talk about the next receiver. But overall, Cooper is a well-rounded player who should be able to thrive as a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. Coming in at number 21, I have Toledo safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. McNeil-Warren displays a very rare physical profile for a safety at 6'4", 204 pounds. His 9 career forced fumbles show a trained ability to punch the ball out, and he covers ground in zone with fluid transitions. He fills gaps against the run with physicality and decisiveness, and his competitive temperament shows up on film. His man coverage against quicker receivers is a concern, and he just displays average explosiveness. His man coverage against quicker receivers is a little bit of a concern, and his open field tackling kind of breaks down in space. He sometimes struggles to disengage against blocks, particularly against offensive linemen. However, he is still a very, very solid prospect, and I expect him to go anywhere from the mid to late first round. Coming in at number 20, I have Tennessee cornerback Jermod McCoy. McCoy is another player where, if it wasn't for his injuries, would definitely be ranked a lot higher on this list. His medical evaluations are going to be critical to his draft stock, as he missed the entire 2025 season, but his 2024 tape displayed a corner who is well ready for the NFL. He has elite ball skills and instincts that translate to turnovers and exceptional timing in zone coverage, easily baiting the QB into dangerous throws. His recognition of plays and routes is well beyond his years, and he excels at disguising coverages pre-snap. He also displays solid press coverage techniques and has natural fluidity in his movements. As I mentioned before, his torn ACL in January of 2025 caused him to miss the entire 2025 season, and he occasionally gets grabby downfield. However, if we're basing this off of what we saw in 2024, Jamal McCoy could be a potential top 10 pick and maybe even the best corner in this class. Coming in at number 19, I have Penn State offensive guard Vega Ioane. There's a case to be made that Ioane is the best offensive lineman in this entire class, but he is a guard, so that is going to hurt his draft stock a little bit. For an offensive guard, he is an amazing pass protector, with 0 sacks and 0 pressures allowed last season. He has an elite anchor and simply just does not give up ground. His grip strength is simply unfair. Once he gets a hold of you, you are not going anywhere. However, his run blocking does lack consistency, and he displays below average lateral quickness. Overall, the team that drafts Ioane will be getting an elite pass blocker and a solid run blocker. At number 18, I have Alabama offensive tackle Kadyn Proctor. This guy is absolutely massive, weighing in at 366 pounds at a height of 6'7". Despite his massive size, he actually does display some solid athleticism and movement skills, but it is his power where his game truly thrives. His anchor is simply immovable, and he generates violent pop off initial contact. He is dominant in gap and power run schemes and displays real nastiness and a finishing mentality. Of course, being 6'7", 350 pounds, his lateral quickness and redirect is a huge red flag along with his conditioning. If he wants to succeed in the NFL level, he could definitely benefit from losing about 20 to 30 pounds, but I think that's something he could do easily, and according to most experts, Proctor could be projected to go way higher than a lot of us think, maybe even in the top 10 picks. So by taking a chance on Proctor, you could potentially be getting a generational offensive lineman. Next up at number 17, I have Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq. Sadiq has truly generational speed for the tight end position, posting the fastest combine for a tight end ever. He is an absolutely absurd athlete with quick twitch feet off the line that creates immediate separation. His strong hands hold up against contact, and he is a natural ball tracker. Dan Lanning lined him up everywhere at his time in Oregon, and he never looked out of place. However, he is undersized for NFL tight ends, and his blocking technique could definitely use a lot of work. Drops have been an issue for him in the past, and physical press coverage does disrupt his timing a lot. He's not the can't-miss elite tight end prospect that was Brock Bowers and Tyler Warren and Colson Loveland, but he still is very solid, and a team will definitely take a chance on him with an early first-round pick. Coming in at number 16, we have Clemson cornerback Avion Terrell. Terrell is another guy that I think I'm higher on than most people, but when I look at him, I see an amazing player who has an ability to force fumbles like no other. Terrell had 5 forced fumbles last season, which I'm pretty sure led all of college football, and he also had 3 the year before. Terrell is an amazing zone player who reads routes like a wide receiver and is also a nasty competitor who constantly wants all the smoke. He has fluid hips, elite closing speed, and legitimate scheme versatility. The only knocks on him is that he's a little undersized, so he will get bullied on contested catches, and he occasionally gets grabby when receivers burn by him. But other than that, he is a clear top 3 corner in this class, and in my eyes, a top 20 pick. He probably won't go in the top 20, but if I were a GM and I was on the board, I would probably be taking him. Next up at number 15, I have Utah offensive tackle Spencer Fano. I'll call him an offensive tackle for now, but realistically, he's going to end up playing either center or guard in the NFL, which will probably hurt his draft stock a little bit. Fano is a little bit undersized, and his upper body and core strength could use some work, and his arms also measured to be extremely short, shorter than Will Campbell's actually. However, he still has 3 years of experience playing both left and right tackle and has exceptional lateral agility and body control. He has good hand strike quickness, amazing balance and recovery skills, and can easily beat defenders to the spot. He also plays with legitimate nastiness and toughness and has amazing communication skills across the offensive line. Even if Fano ends up being a guard or a center in the NFL, I still see him as one of the best offensive linemen in this class. At number 14, I have Oregon safety Dylan Thieneman. Thieneman, in his time at Oregon, truly developed into a versatile player who could start at safety for basically every single team in the NFL. His coverage instincts are truly elite, with silky hips and a smooth back pedal that allows him to transition from zone coverage to aggressive breaks. He also has elite speed for the safety position and real alignment versatility. He tackles with true intent and follows through with textbook technique, and his ball skills are also real, with 8 interceptions in his career. He triggers downhill against the run violently, and his competitive fire burns hot and never shuts off. He does get trapped on play action at times, and his man coverage starts to break down on longer routes. However, that does not change the fact that he is still a top 15 player in this class. For some reason, there's a narrative in the NFL that you should not be taking safeties high, but I truly don't understand that. I see safeties as a huge difference maker on the defense, and Thieneman is no exception. At number 13, I have Georgia offensive tackle Monroe Freeling. Freeling is an absolute monster at 6'7", 315 pounds, and has extremely rare length, foot speed, and size. His pass block production is real, even against tough SEC talent. He has great initial quickness and solid balance and spatial awareness. His first step off the line is dangerous, and he runs like a tight end when he's a lead blocker. His pass production also progressed significantly throughout the season. His run blocking is still underdeveloped compared to his pass blocking, as he is a true junior with only 16 career starts, and he could add some more functional weight to his frame. In a class that's lacking at left tackle, Monroe Freeling could easily go off the board within the top 10 picks. At number 12, I have Miami offensive tackle Francis Mauigoa. Mauigoa is a very well-rounded prospect with an extremely high floor and is projected to be a day one starter in the NFL. He has a very compact build at 6'6", 335 pounds with insane muscle mass and density. His anchor is elite, and his hands are patient, strong, and smooth. He can also move quite well for his size, with great balance, body control, and recovery. I would say that his lateral agility is good, but not elite, and his pad level does creep up as the game goes on. His arms also measured in at just below average. Although I have Mauigoa at 12 on my board, it doesn't mean that he couldn't go higher, and most people actually have him going in the top 5 of the draft. At number 11, I have Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson. If Tyson didn't have any lingering injury concerns, he would probably be the first receiver off the board. He is an extremely skilled route runner who simply just gets open. He also had a 67% contested catch rate last season and is truly dynamic after the catch. The only knock on Jordan Tyson's game is his injury history, which is very extensive. He wasn't even able to compete in his pro day due to a lingering hamstring injury, which concerns many NFL teams, and some mocks even have him falling to the end of the first round. I think the end of the first round is a bit extreme, as we're still talking about an extremely skilled player, so I see him going more in that 12 to 19 range, like somewhere like the Jets could probably take him. And if I'm being completely honest, if he was fully healthy, he would probably be the number 1 receiver on my board. Getting into the top 10, we have USC wide receiver Makai Lemon. Lemon has the best hands out of any receiver in this class. He simply just doesn't drop the football. He also has elite understanding of leverages and how to work corners out of position. He's extremely skilled on contested catches, and his footwork and route running are truly elite. He's also a willing and aggressive run blocker and has that fiery personality you want out of your wide receivers. The only drawbacks on him is that he has average size, speed, and is quite mediocre after the catch, but if you were to put him in the slot, he could easily become a top 5 slot receiver and Pro Bowler in the NFL in his rookie season. It's hard to ignore the Amon-Ra St. Brown comparisons, as they're both similar sizes and both came from USC and played the game almost exactly the same. And I could easily see a world where Makai Lemon is the first wide receiver off the board. At number 9, I have Texas Tech edge rusher David Bailey. 9 is a little bit low compared to where most people have Bailey ranked, but don't get me wrong, I still think Bailey is a truly elite prospect. The reason that he's this low is because he's quite undersized compared to NFL defensive ends, but he makes up for it with his quickness and explosiveness. He has a freakish first step, and he builds up speed that makes it impossible to recover from once he gets past you. He also has a legitimate and refined counter arsenal and a relentless motor to chase down plays. Bailey is most likely going top 3 in this class, which I'm not going to argue with, but I do think there are still 2 better edge rushers in this class. At number 8, I have Ohio State wide receiver Carnell Tate. Although Tate's ceiling probably isn't as high as Lemons and Tyson's, he has the highest floor in this class out of any receiver by far. Tate has amazing hands and is a true big play threat. He is elite at going up and grabbing the ball and finessing defenders out of position. He's also a strong route runner with a solid contested catch rate. He is a bit lanky and would benefit from some more added weight and has kind of underwhelming speed and release. But when you get to the NFL level, route running and contested catch ability definitely matters a lot more than speed does. And Tate truly excels at every aspect of the game that makes you an elite NFL wide receiver. I'm really hoping that my Browns can get him at number 6, but I would definitely not be surprised if he were to be taken off the board before then. At number 7 is the highest ranked corner on this list, and that is Mansour Delane from LSU. Delane has some truly generational coverage techniques and can read routes before they even develop. He allowed a shockingly low 27.5 passer rating when targeted and was an elite ball hawk with 8 interceptions and 27 passes defended. He also didn't allow a single touchdown in 2025 and posted 0 penalties while at LSU. This is a guy that will thrive in any team, and in terms of a cornerback prospect, it does not get much better than this. At number 6, I have Miami edge rusher Rueben Bain Jr. Now, I know all the talk about Rueben Bain has been focused on his arm length. However, to anyone saying that his arms are too short for him to be an elite NFL player, all I want you to do is turn on his tape in the playoffs. Bain has elite first step quickness and loose hips and violent hands. He converts speed to power naturally with the power of a defensive tackle and the speed of an edge rusher. He plays the run with real aggression and is a versatile alignment option. He was probably the second best edge rusher in all of NCAA football last year, only behind David Bailey, and I don't care about his short arms, this dude can play football. Coming in at number 5, I have Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. Styles is a once-in-a-lifetime athlete with one of the best combine performances that I have ever seen. He's extremely athletic for the linebacker position and has elite coverage ability. He also displays violent hands at the point of attack and has elite sideline-to-sideline speed. He's a clean open field tackler and can diagnose plays with ease. His zone coverage instincts are well above average, and he also has strong lineup versatility. Styles is far and away the best linebacker prospect in this class. The only downsides to his game are that he can occasionally bite on play action and fakes, and his hips are kind of tight in man coverage. He's still a clear top 10 player, but I wouldn't be surprised if he were to fall more to that 9 or 10 range, only because he does play Mike linebacker, and that's not necessarily considered to be a premium position in the NFL. At number 4, I got my favorite and everyone's favorite player in this draft, and of course I'm talking about Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Again, I will remind you guys, these rankings aren't based off where I think they're going to be drafted. I'm just ranking them based off how skilled they are, and that's why Mendoza is number 4 instead of number 1. I still think Mendoza is an extremely skilled prospect and by far the best quarterback in this class. Although he doesn't display any rare physical gifts, he still has an extremely strong football IQ, and his ball placement skills and leadership are off the charts. There is no doubt in my mind that Mendoza will be the number 1 overall pick, and just like I predicted in my mock draft video, the Raiders actually signed Kirk Cousins, which is more beneficial to Mendoza's career than people think. He now has the chance to learn behind a solid veteran for the first 8 weeks to entire season of his NFL career. I do think there are 3 better players in this class than Mendoza, but that doesn't change the fact that he is a truly elite quarterback prospect. Starting off with the top 3, we have Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese is just a true legitimate athlete. He has elite sideline-to-sideline speed and is a strong tackler who hardly ever misses. He's an elite run defender who diagnoses plays at a high level and also showcases a strong anchor and strength at the point of attack. He has the best positional versatility out of any player in this class and can play anywhere that you line him up across the front seven. He has very long arms and excellent hand usage and has real potential to be an all-pro pass rusher. The only downside to Reese is that he only has one full season under his belt playing edge rusher, but I would compare him to Micah Parsons back when he was at Penn State, where he was more of a versatility guy than he was a true edge rusher. In my eyes, Reese definitely has the tools and athleticism to become an elite pass rusher in the NFL. At number 2, I have Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. What is there to say about Love that hasn't already been said? This guy is just truly amazing. He has home run speed and explosiveness that shows up every single week. He also has outstanding contact balance and is a patient runner with good vision. He's also more than just a running back, as he is an elite pass catching option. He runs with aggression and power, and his ball security is absolutely mind-boggling. This guy does not fumble. He's probably the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley, and that is really saying something. There's no doubt in my mind that Love will be a top 10 or even top 5 running back after his first season in the NFL. Coming in as the number 1 prospect in the 2026 NFL Draft, I have Ohio State safety Caleb Downs. This will probably surprise a lot of people, as no mock draft or anything has Downs going within the first 3 picks, but to me, that does not change the fact that he is the best player in this class. Although he lacks elite size and elite athletic traits, this guy's football IQ is simply something that we've never seen before. He processes information at warp speed before and after the snap. He operates as a true chess piece who can play anywhere in the alignment. He commanded the secondary at Ohio State like a veteran defensive coordinator who tackles with controlled aggression and textbook form. He also showed cornerback level fluidity in his coverage and displayed excellent ball hawking skills while in zone coverage. He brings physicality as a run defender and also has legitimate value as a special teams punt returner. Every weakness in this guy's game is something that's just extremely minor or extremely stupid. To me, there is almost no flaws in Caleb Downs' game, and that is why, to me, he is the number 1 prospect in the class. Odds are he doesn't go number 1. Odds are he doesn't go in the top 5 and might not even go in the top 10 just because safeties are extremely undervalued in the drafts. But to me, whoever drafts him is going to get an immediate A+ grade because they are getting what could be the best safety in the NFL already. I know, that's a little bit crazy, but Downs is just that good. And that is going to do it for today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I would really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun making this video, and if you guys disagree with any of my opinions, which I'm sure you will, then please feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you would change. And as always, thank you for watching.